Someone please come teach me some new adjectives. Clearly I've been spending too much time on the internet and I really need to read a book. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited for today's video because I've actually been promising this video to you since last year. I've done a couple of full brand reviews including Glossier and Tarte, so if you haven't gotten to watch those, I will leave links to them down below so you can go watch them after you watch this should you choose to. But today I'm going to be doing a full face review of Wet n Wild. It's hard to give credit to anyone other than Alana Davison for my Wet n Wild obsession. This is an amazing drugstore brand that I've gotten to try out lots of products from and experiment with over the past year. So I have pretty much a full face here right now to test out for you. The only products that I am without are a concealer and a blush. So I'm going to use the L'Oreal Infallible Concealer and the Florence by Mills Cheekulator Cream Blush, kind of just to stay in a lower price point and be consistent with the look, but I won't focus on those too much, and I really want to focus here on going through the products from the brand that I really love and that I've been testing out over the last few months. Just to give you a little bit of background on Wet n Wild if you're not familiar, they are a drugstore brand, and I have to say the price points are pretty unbelievable for how high quality a lot of the products are. They are a Los Angeles based company. I think they are somehow still independent, as in they are not part of L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, Coty, you name it, you got it. Everyone's been acquired somewhere. It seems like Wet n Wild is kind of just out on their own. They are also a fully cruelty-free brand, which is always a plus. And if you watch till the end of the video, I'll be sure to tell you my favorite products from this full face look and my kind of misses or not so favorite products from the look. And I will try to be objective. I clearly love the brand, but there are obviously some products that will perform better than others and that honestly just personally work better for me than they might for other people as well. So to kick things off, I'm going to start with a product that I'm pretty sure I've spoken about on the channel before. This is a face primer. This is their Photo Focus Dewy Face Primer, and I am freaking obsessed with this stuff. If you don't want to invest in Glossier Future Dew or the Kevyn Aucoin Glass Glow, you should probably just get this. This stuff is amazing. Looks kind of a little tint to it like that, but just check out my skin now and then wait 2 seconds. Now check out my skin. You guys know I love a glow. I'm really into the healthy skin look, and especially if you're going to use a more matte foundation as I am today, I think it adds a little bit more dimension and depth to your base look, and it just gives you kind of a more overall natural look when you are using more of a matte foundation. For my foundation today, I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Stick Foundation in the shade Classic Ivory, and I actually have a video comparing this to the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. If you're interested in seeing the differences between that, I will also put a link to that video up on the screen so you can go check it out. I have to say, I haven't used a stick foundation probably this whole winter season, so I'm excited to revisit this and see what I like about it. I'm gonna blend it out using the Sigma 3D HD Kabuki brush, which I realize this is not even close to being a drugstore brush, but this is the brush that I've found to work the best for blending out stick foundations for me. Here's what the base looks blended in. As you can see, the primer did a lot to keep my skin looking really natural since this is kind of a thicker product, although I will say that the stick foundation is pretty buildable. So if I wanted to go back in and add a little bit more coverage, I totally could. In this case, I'm just going to quickly apply some L'Oreal concealer and then I will get into the bronzer. I did also want to say for the Wet n Wild stick foundation, that does come in 21 shades, which for the drugstore is pretty good. I think we could probably put a couple more out there. I noticed that there weren't as many options for women of color with darker skin, so something to maybe strive towards in 2020 for Wet n Wild, but overall 21 shades, not too bad, especially considering how limited a lot of drugstore shade ranges are anyway. Let's move on to bronzer, which is a product that probably needs no introduction anyway, but this is the Photo Focus Color Icon Bronzer in Ticket to Brazil. Pit pan on this, talked about this million times on this channel. Love this product so much. I mean, this bronzer is $5.49, so if you're looking for a new bronzer and you are on a budget, please do yourself a favor and go try this one. I love how the color blends out, very smooth and kind of creamy, even though it is a powder, and it is overall a matte shade, but it does have the tiniest bit of shimmer in it, not in an obnoxious way, but just in a healthy, dewy, adding to that overall beautiful kind of skin vibe. Beautiful kind of skin vibe. Someone please come teach me some new adjectives. Clearly I've been spending too much time on the internet and I really need to read a book. I'll usually take a little bit of excess up on my hairline by my forehead and then right underneath my chin. Just went ahead and dabbed on the tiniest bit of that Florence by Mills blush. And if anyone's tried the Wet n Wild blushes, again, I'm having a shimmery issue. I really don't need a super shimmery blush, and the only ones I've kind of run into from them seem to have that shimmer in it. So if you've tried a more matte product from Wet n Wild, please let me know in the comments down below, or even if you've tried a shimmery one that isn't as obnoxiously shimmery as it might appear from the packaging, also please let me know. Gonna move on to my brows now. So Wet n Wild actually has a bunch of different brow products. They have some gel, they have some liquid, it looks like, and I just kind of went for this micro brow pencil, which if you ask me is pretty identical to the NYX one. I don't notice too much of a difference between the two. On one side you have a clean spoolie and on the other you have a pencil. I don't know what shade this is, but unfortunately I don't know what shade this is. I just know that it is a color that matches my eyebrows. Just gonna go ahead and lightly fill my brows in. I don't need them to look too done for this full face look. Just want them to be a little bit more defined than my natural. For a while I was using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz pencil just because I had heard good things. Obviously she's kind of the OG brow queen. And then I tried the NYX one. Couldn't tell the difference. And then I tried this one even too, and again, they're pretty similar. And I actually have a whole video where I try the best brow products for brunettes, so I will put that video up on the screen for you to check out as well in case you're interested in a little bit more in-depth review of some of the brow products that I've tried this year. Let's move on to the eyes, and here's a product I never thought I'd get excited about. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Eyeshadow Primer, and this stuff works. I've tried the Urban Decay eyeshadow potion. I've tried the Smashbox 24 hours. Do I kind of think that this $5.50 shadow primer works better than both of them? Yeah, I kind of do. I'm insane but true, so just going to apply this over the lid using the ring finger to get the most gentle pressure on my eye. This is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Rosé in the Air palette. As you can see, you get 10 shades in this palette. I believe this is $7.50 from the drugstore. Again, really great affordable option if you are craving some new eyeshadows and you're looking at, I don't know, the $49 Urban Decay Born to Run palette, or even worse, like one of the Natasha Denona palettes, the Fenty Moroccan Spice palette, and you're just like, do I want to hate myself tomorrow for spending $80 on a new palette? Maybe, but otherwise you could just get this one. There are some fun shades in here and a couple that I've never really played with before, so I'm kind of feeling like I could go for some of the purpley and pink shades down here. I generally stick to the nudes and the little metallic shade here, and what I usually do, even though this is probably wrong, is take the lightest or most neutral shade and dust it all over my lid just to give myself a little bit more of a party base before I start applying any more intense shadows. These shadows, when you first kind of take them out of their pan in the palette, are pretty chalky, but there isn't a terrible amount of fallout once you actually apply them, which is good. I'm gonna go for this kind of bright pink, purple, magenta shade and do a little bit of crease action slash outer corner with that, just to start to add in some color for fun. Wow, this shade is way less chalky than the first one I just used, but maybe it's because I've never tried it before. So I didn't go in with too much pigment actually, and this is more of a wash of what I feel like the true shade of that color could be if you really wanted to pack it on. So I think that that gives, you know, these eyeshadows a lot of versatility, meaning that you can kind of manipulate them however you want to, depending on how you want to apply them. So I think next I'm going to grab this lilac shade right here and kind of cover my lid with that. I'm gonna go back in with this very neutral shade here and take it underneath my brow bone. Okay, and then for my inner corner, I'm going to take this metallic-y shade and just kind of place that in there. I might try using my finger to do that. So I only used 4 of those 10 shades, but I feel like I got the look that I wanted. And again, there are so many other ways that you could play with this. You could do a much more autumnal kind of look. You could do just a very, very light and girly look with these kind of colors. You could definitely play with the transition shades and the really dark brown shade a little bit more as well. Let's move on to mascara. When I first tried this mascara, I wasn't that in love with it, and the more I use it, the more I like it. This is the Mega Length Mascara, and I've got the shade Very Black. It's probably the closest drugstore mascara that I've tried that really does give you that falsy illusion look. Here is the difference before and after. My one thing that I don't love about this, I think, is just how long it takes me to apply and get it right. I might try wiping the brush next time, but I feel like the only mascara that's a little harder to maneuver than this is the Rodial XXL Glamo Lash Mascara, which I love. They're both very wet formulas, so you want to make sure that you are not, you know, and that one had like a little clump right there, which doesn't happen too often, but if it does, obviously, you know, it can mess up your look that you just worked so hard to create. So just something to keep in mind. This is a like 2 to 3 minute mascara situation, not like a 30-second mascara situation, in my experience at least. The brush is so skinny though, so it really does help you get in straight from the root, and I feel like that is a big part of what gives it the lift and what gives it the length. And last up, because I thought I had a lip product, but I don't, so sorry about that. But the last thing I'm gonna apply is the Mega Glow Hello Halo highlighter. So this is a liquid highlighter concentrate. I would say it is pretty similar vibes to the Glossier Play Night Shine, and it is a doe foot applicator. So what I generally do is take 3 dots directly from the applicator actually onto my face, and then I use my finger to blend that out. And honestly, I give the primer a lot of credit already because I don't even feel like the highlighter is that essential because of how beautiful and glowy my skin is still looking from that primer. This is the shade Gilded Glow, and I feel like the tiniest bit of this goes a long way. I could easily still have this in 5 years probably, which I know would be gross, but you get the point. The point is that it lasts you forever. So because I didn't have a lip product from Wet n Wild, I went in with the Superstay 24-Hour Color one from Maybelline. And for some reason, just like the brow pencil, I'm not actually seeing a shade on this. All I know is that it's kind of a peachy neutral. So not fully sure what's going on there. But anyway, you guys, this is my finished face of pretty much all Wet n Wild products. Let me know what you guys think of this look. And as I promised, I do want to share my kind of favorites and some of my could go either way ons, I'm gonna call them, not necessarily even lows, because I really do love how this look turned out, and I think all of the products overall performed really, really well. You really can't beat the quality and the price point of Wet n Wild compared to other drugstore brands. I just think it is such a standout, and I really do love pretty much all of these products that I've been playing with. My fellow beauty YouTuber Taylor Elizabeth at the end of her brand reviews always kind of does a top 2 and a bottom 2, so I'm going to take some inspo from her in terms of the products that I picked for my bottom 2 and my top 2. So I'll start with the bottom 2, which again aren't even really in the bottom. I just don't necessarily see them as my all-time favorites from the brand. The first is just going to be the Photo Focus Stick Foundation, and I think that's just because I'm off stick foundations at the moment. They also have this foundation not in stick form from Wet n Wild, so I'd be really curious to try that and see if I like it any better. And then my second product, kind of on the lower end, is the brow pencil. This is the Micro Brow Pencil. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. I actually do think I prefer my e.l.f. one though, which is somehow even cheaper than this one, which is crazy, but again, there's nothing wrong with it. My brows turned out fine and everything. It's just not a super standout product for me. And my top 2, I would have to say, are both pretty impressive considering that this brand is from the drugstore, and they're actually 2 kind of base and setting products. So the first, as you probably can guess, is the Dewy Primer. This just did such a good job for setting my skin up to look really beautiful and natural, even with a more medium to full coverage foundation like the stick foundation. And the second one, I've really got to give it up for the eyeshadow primer. I, again, am kind of blown away by this. I feel like this eyeshadow primer, whenever I use it, that the makeup just lasts all day. Thinking about the fact that I was paying, you know, $24, $34 for other eyeshadow primers is just kind of silly now that I know about this, so definitely a recommendation that I would give to you. That's all from me, you guys. Let me know if there is another brand that you want me to do a full face review of next, or if you have any other products from the drugstore maybe that you would like to see an individual product review on. As I mentioned in my first video of the year, that is really something that I'm going to be focusing on for 2020 to give you the best information and explain how the products look and work on at least my skin so that you can be more informed when you go to purchase something. If you're not already, please do subscribe and stick around. I upload new videos every Sunday, and I like to post videos about beauty and also some tips for content creators. So if you're also a beauty content creator or a beauty YouTuber, first of all, leave your channel down below so I can come say hi and check it out. And second of all, just to continue to share some tips and tricks that we can all use to create better content together. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!